Hey everyone, I'm Erin Saxton, that girl from Jersey, and I'm glad you're tuning back in to watch another episode. I have with me Patrick Ignozzi. He and I have been co-workers and really good friends for 20 years, at least.
We keep dating ourselves, 20 years. Yeah, I guess we're getting up there.
We're not dating.
No, we're not.
But we're dating ourselves.
We're dating ourselves.
That sounds personal.
Well, we're both in great relationships, but
Yes.
But we never did date, but that's another show.
That is another show. Actually, it would be a short show because there's nothing to say.
Well, I guess it depends.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I guess you could say that.
So he and I were producers at The View together, and I was there for about a year, and then he joined the team, and I showed him how to do Barbara's blue cards, and we've been best friends ever since.
Yeah, those blue cards were certainly addictive. I think we owe our relationship to the blue cards.
Yeah.
And people know that they're really blue.
Yeah.
They're not.
Tell everybody what blue cards.
So blue cards are about 5x7, 5x5, 3x5
Yeah.
maybe. Depends on what size. I think they were the 5x7s we used.
Yeah, 5x7s.
They're pale
who could
blue.
Read?
Actually,
this is like a 3x5. Who could read that?
Yeah, so it's 5x7, and then I think they were probably similar to the color of your jacket that you're wearing today.
Maybe.
Which is very spring, very nice.
Thank you.
But I will say that those cards were kind of the introduction to a friendship.
It's true, because you had to do it a certain way. And the way we needed to do it was the Barbara way, which is cool. And so we would print out, we type them up in the computer.
Yeah, we would.
And we'd print out on a regular sheet of paper.
Right.
And then we'd cut glue.
Yeah.
And then stick them on to the blue card.
Well, that
because
was
you couldn't put in the beginning.
Beginning, because that was circa 1998.
Yes,
and that went on until circa 2004, if my memory is correct. Then you got a computer system where you can actually put the cards into the computer, into the printer, I should say.
Very fancy.
And it would print out all everything from like literally just like if it was on a piece of paper.
Yes,
but on the card,
which is lovely.
Anyway, that's our kind of history of getting to know each other.
Exactly. So it was this big thing.
Yeah.
When you started, you had to do the blue cards right.
Right.
And if you didn't,
you were dead.
You were dead.
Well,
not dead, but it wasn't a great day.
Yeah, you wanted to make it clear because, as you know, talent reads off of those, and the facts have to be right, the questions have to be precise, the bullets have to really have what they should have on there.
Yes.
So you can, have a decent conversation, or at least a proper, correct conversation.
Exactly. No one did our blue cards for this segment with us today.
We don't need to. We're pros.
We are pros.
Yeah. Plus, we just wing it anyway.
We do.
It's the fun part about doing a podcast with your friend.
It's true. It's true.
And I never get out to New Jersey, so it's good to be back.
I know. I love that you got out to New Jersey. This is great.
Thank you,
You
Uber.
reside in Manhattan.
I do live on the Upper East Side.
And
Los Angeles, but yeah.
Yes, you're a kind of a nomad.
I'm a nomad. Yes, that's right. That's right.
So one of the things that I thought we would talk today is whenever you're on the show, I like to pick topics.
Yeah.
And I like to have like that old school host chat feel with you.
We're topical people.
Right? So today's topic is, ready? Gossip.
Gossip. We all know it.
So 52 minutes a day, they say, we all gossip.
Yeah, that's a great statistic, isn't it?
And do you think men are gossiping as much as women?
I think men are doing it in different places. I don't think they're necessarily always doing it in the workplace. I think they're doing it with their buddies on the phone, in the car, on the weekends. But absolutely, I think there's no... we'll get in more heavily into this, but if you're going by gender, I definitely think men do it just as much as women.
So what do men gossip about?
Well, I think it depends. I mean, look, lots of men talk about, relationships. They'll talk about, their kids. I think they'll talk about, other guys or other, people that, they're competitive with. I also think that gossip is just part of our daily routine. I remember when, I was younger, and I remember a lot of the females in my family would go to the beauty salons or what have you and getting their hair cut. And that was the meeting place for people to really find out what was going on in town. And I think if you're in a larger city, I think you're talking more about what's on TV or what did you watch last night, or talking about other people's relationships like celebrities in the news. But I think if you're in a small town, or maybe a little, even more isolated areas where we are here, New Jersey, beautiful area, by the way, that you're talking about people on your street, on Main Street or on Elm Street. So I think it kind of varies from, geography and where you are. But it's interesting that gossip can really destroy and kill.
Absolutely. So I'm smiling because you brought up small towns and you brought up hair salons.
Right.
So I love anything that Pope Francis. Like, he's cool, you know? So he recently said to a, did you read about this?
I did. I read this. It's
He recently looked at, there was a group of 230,
salon.
The article said beauticians.
Yes.
Right?
Salon owners or makeup artists, hairdress designers, all of that.
And he said, please refrain from gossiping. He actually took this topic on.
And avoid the temptation of gossip.
Yes. As if it's like, and give it up for Lent even, I think he said. Now we're
out of Lent. So does that mean after
cool.
Lent that you can go back to gossiping? Like, I'm curious about that.
I know, like people are eating the donuts again that they get. They're drinking the beer that they gave up. So, do you just have to give it up or you just have to give it up for Lent? Right. I don't know.
That's a good question, actually. But yes, I was a little concerned about that.
Pope Francis watches this show.
No, I'm sure he does too.
I follow him on Instagram.
You do, right? Yeah, so do I.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah, I mean, he's fun.
Yeah,
he makes me interested in things now.
Yeah.
I'm not
I'm
not overly religious.
No, but he's relatable, and I think whatever religion you are, and I think it's open to everyone. I think all the leaders of all the religions, I think, as long as they're promoting, good, a good, healthy lifestyle, and we all respect each other, I think then that's a fine religion. And I'm not here to judge any religion, nor are you, but I think he's kind of an interesting progressive type of pope that we've ever seen in our life.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
He makes me lean in.
But he got very, very, this was what I loved, is that I never heard of anybody in the authority, or at least a pope, right, or in the cleric, use the words that gossipers are like terrorists, and you should refrain from, that, because that's like, you have like a really bad tongue. Now, I remember hearing that some people have like really negative tongues, and I used to think like, okay, well, people do talk about people, and then it's always going to be prevalent, and it's always going to be part of our lifestyle. The question is, what's good gossip? What's bad gossip? I think we all know the difference between the two. We don't need to sit here and dissect that. But there is some type of healthy gossip where people are communicating. And I know at one point we talked about, socialization and people feeling lonely. Is gossip helping people connect in a way? But when is it too far? And I think when it hurts people, it destroys them or what have you. Obviously, we all agree here, and it shouldn't be anyone's intention to do that. But I do think that, there is a certain, standard that we have to follow when it comes to it. But everybody does it. And I wonder if there's a gossip gene. When I was reading this story yesterday,
interesting,
I thought, is there a gossip gene that people have that they just can't control themselves to do that?
Yeah, they can't help themselves, like a glandular issue.
Right. Well, look at all the gossip shows that are on television. Some of them I've worked on and consulted on. And so I will tell you that, the first thing I do in the morning, which I know I shouldn't, but I think 90% of us do, we check our phones. And what do I look at? All the alerts that have come in of all the places I follow and all the stories that resonate, mostly entertainment and certainly some hard news stories, but they have a slant of gossip in them, right?
Absolutely.
And I do think that we are attracted to it. So I wonder if we're inclined to that because of, our interest in it. And do we look for something to talk about or to fantasize about? And certainly other people's problems somewhat keep us, I don't know, maybe stop us thinking about our own problems.
I think other people's problems make us feel great about our own.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly.
I think you're right.
And so
you feel like, oh, that could never happen to me.
Or thank God I don't have it that bad.
Right.
But I don't know if then, just because you feel that, I don't know if I would go and gossip. I really hate hearing that somebody's talking about somebody else.
Yeah.
Or
talking about me or you or something like that.
Yeah. When I hear all those people talking about you.
Yeah, it's fine with me.
I just get so upset. It can
hurt.
For you.
Yeah, it can, and it can hurt. And I think
it bothers me when I'm privy to that.
Right.
I'm kidding.
Well, no, of course, but I think that we all are, and anyone that says that they're not isn't. But you know what really made me really interested about this topic was the mayor of Manila of the Philippines.
Yes.
Have you ever been to Manila?
No.
I've never been either.
I have their envelopes.
Do you? Oh, yeah,
yes.
Manila. Yeah, those are great envelopes.
Yes.
No, I know people that have gone backpacking there or gone hiking in the Philippines, but I have never been. So, but I hear it's beautiful.
They have a word for gossip.
Yes.
Chismis.
Chismis, right, exactly. You pronounced it properly.
Thank you.
Yes, chismis. So what's interesting about chismis is that if you are caught gossiping, you are fined.
In the Philippines.
In the Philippines. That hasn't come here
or
to
in
the
a
United
small
States.
town.
In a small village, it's in Manila, that you basically can be fined, and depending on what you've said, you can be fined to community service. I think you have to pick up garbage or pick up litter.
Yeah. It's illegal.
It's illegal. It's a crime.
Chismis.
Right.
Chismissing
Do you think
is bad.
Well, what, yeah, why do you think it's gone that far? And I guess, basically, if you live there, what do you think it's not like, are we hurting, like, are we working against freedom of speech?
But,
this isn't America. This is the Philippines.
Let me unwrap this, right?
Yeah.
So who's the Chismis police, right? Who's going around going, ah!
It's local officials.
So what? They're walking around with their bully sticks, and they'll be like, right?
Well, the officials are saying that if you burn...
You look like you're talking about somebody.
Right. I think they have to hear it firsthand, but I think things have gotten so out of control there that they're talking about people's money, their property. It's causing such rifts and such turmoil that it's causing people anxiety, probably fights, probably a lot of violence. But I want to know, how deep are words? Words are obviously can be very dangerous.
Yeah,
it's not like you're shooting someone, but your words could be considered an assault. Verbal.
Well, and I mean, look at on social media, like the gossip, and so is it gossip, or is it when you're just talking about somebody so blatantly on social media?
Right.
I don't even think that's gossip anymore. I think that's slander.
It's slander,
right?
Yeah.
So we're not going there.
Right.
I mean, I guess we just did, right?
But gossip, but talking about somebody is gossip saying, I saw that person wear that pair of jeans and they're just way too tight for them. They shouldn't be wearing that. Is that considered gossip? And is that considered like a bad thing to say?
Well, I mean, it's mean.
Did you haven't liked all the clothes I've ever worn, and I know you didn't like them, but I wouldn't consider that
but if I'm telling people about how much you paid for those shoes, like what you spend on shoes.
Are you talking about me personally, or just
I'm
in general?
actually going.
All right. Well, okay. Well, that's true, but that's not gossip. I think that's just like an opinion.
No, exactly. But if I took that information and I was like, what's the most expensive pair of shoes you've ever bought?
I can't recall.
Yeah, you can.
A couple $100.
Oh, please. Lies.
$400-500 maybe back.
Okay.
Maybe
so
back
let's just say that you didn't have any money to eat,
right,
and you weren't eating. But you took your money and you bought shoes. And I go around telling everybody that, and that you haven't been able to pay your bills, which I'm making all of this up.
Of course you are. But I have gone on eating peanut butter for breakfast and dinner.
Well, you used to bring cans of salmon into the show.
Well, yeah.
Or tuna fish.
Tuna fish. Salmon was a little too expensive at the time. But no, tuna, yeah.
I mean, honestly, we've had picnic rough days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Cereal.
Yeah. Right. I get that.
Eggs.
Right.
No, I never really did eggs. But
that's true.
Because they could break on the way to the office.
Anyway, I'm just saying that if you were choosing to do that, that's a jumping off point for a gossip. So one might innocently say, like, did you check out Patrick's new, blah, blah, blah shoes? They're like $800.
Right.
And then the next person goes.
That's not even including tax.
Right. But then the next person then goes, well, wait a second. I thought he couldn't pay his rent. Right. And then suddenly, you're in a gossip
then
pool.
I would need a social, I need not interaction. What is
intervention?
Intervention, exactly. But what I loved about this story was interesting that they said the quote I wrote down was, "Burning gossip is our way of quality of life." So getting rid of the gossip. So I wonder if we did not gossip at all in our lives, would that better our lives? Would we feel much more at peace? Would we get along better with folks? Would the workplace be a happier environment? Would we progress? Would we become financially more stable? How would that change how would that change our lives, basically?
I would like to think that we're a society then that's not as neurotic.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, think of the neuroses. Think of all the things that we do just to be proactively combative against what might be being said about us.
Right.
Right?
But yes. But I wonder how much so what would we talk to people about? Like what would we then, first of all, we have to define what gossip is, number one. Then number two is, would we lose a lot of the conversation that we have to make with people?
Well, you'd lose that, maybe that self-deprecating humor or rapport. Like, if you go on gossip, like, there's nothing worse than somebody who is presenting like a buffet of like a delicious meal of gossip. And I love doing this this is what I do. So they'll say something and I'll reply back. Oh, how do you know that? Well, I just know.
Right.
Awesome. So, and then I ask a follow-up and I'm like, well, since you're in the know, oh, wait. Now, I'm like, well, no, you're, and I'm not fighting with them.
That's right.
But you realize, like, if you push back on somebody who's gossiping and you're making them own what they're saying,
right,
then suddenly they become a little more aware of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I never gossip. I totally
gossip.
I don't think we can help it, but
chismis.
I chismis.
Are you guilty of chismis?
I'm so guilty of chismis.
I'm calling the Manila police.
I'm chismissing all the time.
I have friends in the Philippines, and I'm going to call them.
Well, I want to be called Ms. Chismis.
Yeah, you should. It's
Mind your chismis.
But you know what I think is really, you bring up a good point. I think one of them, I think when you find out someone is gossiping about you and it's someone that you respected and liked, or if it's someone you work with or you work for, I think that really hurts. And I think that many people can relate to that. And I feel like, that you lose a sense of respect, but you might believe the gossip too, that, someone is saying, and it might stay with you, and you might, carry that burden around. And, for those people that are watching or listening today, I think that the lesson to that is, it's such a simple statement. Would you say something about someone that, that you wouldn't want to be said about you? And I think you have to ask yourself that, and then say to yourself, is this something that I would be, comfortable saying? But I think there is simple gossip, and then I think there is, detrimental gossip.
Yeah. I don't know if the parts that really bother me are when people are just speaking in a mean way about them. I don't know if that's gossip then. There could be, it could be a factual statement.
Right.
For me, I always thought gossip was hearsay.
Right.
Wasn't factual, or it wasn't proven either way.
Right.
But
it's mostly out of fear. People say it. Fear, 99% psychologists will tell you. And so I've interviewed so many psychologists, sociologists over the years, and, it's all about fear. And I think insecurity and fear can cause people to do things that they normally wouldn't do. So I think you have to analyze what that is and how exactly you feel about something. And there's ways of saying it, but I don't think it's ever going to stop. I think the real question is, what if a law came to the United States in your or your local town,
right,
or in the workplace, that, can you be fired for that? Can you be fired for gossiping? Can you, get a ticket like you would get a car ticket for illegally parking, somewhere?
Can you imagine gossip court?
Yeah, gossip court.
You'd go there. They'd have traffic court one night.
That's my next show.
Chismis court. Yeah. Why don't you produce that?
Mm-hmm.
Gossip court.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be fun?
It would be fun. And, you said, but then what's the penalty? And how do you prove to somewhere in a court of law that, first of all, unless you have them on tape or audio saying it.
Exactly. Well, that's what I mean. Who's the gossip police then?
That's right. Who is the gossip police?
And it's hearsay. It's he said, she said.
In the Philippines, they don't really go into detail of how they're actually finding these people. But obviously, it's either firsthand accounts or they're hearing it from other people who have, firsthand knowledge. Or we have so much equipment there that you could videotape anything or audio tape anybody.
Right. I just find that it's steps. I mean, we've talked about other things where, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
At the steps we take as a society. And I don't want there to be gossip.
Right.
I want everyone, I'm very Pollyanna. My friends make fun of me, right? I want everyone, I love love. I want everyone to be happy and healthy and be friends with everyone.
Are you still living through the world through rose-colored glasses?
They're not even rose anymore. Okay. They're just like...
I thought we had this conversation.
No, exactly. They're like a deeper shade of, hope.
I hear you.
But it's so funny, though, that we're going to make these changes in something like that, and we're still doing awful things in other regards.
Okay, so if we were to pass a law here about it, then what would happen to some of the best shows on television? Like the Page Sixes of the world, or the TMZs of the world, or Inside Edition, or all these shows that are on television, and even the court shows, although that's more criminal, I guess, and more, and civil. But what would happen to all of that? I don't know, and I'm gossip.
Okay with that. It is gossip. See, the court shows, to me, that's not gossip because the person's there. So in New Jersey, in New York, in this this New England-y kind of area,
Is that where we are?
that's where we are. See, because you see
Wow,
New
I feel
Jersey
like I'm in
behind
like
me.
New England. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
So the thing is, around here,
Yes.
we don't gossip as much as we say it to your face,
Right.
right? So I don't know if that's gossip. It's maybe just combative or argumentative, or but in down south, I feel like, that scene from Steel Magnolias. I think it was Dolly Parton. She had a seat next to her, and they're like, she's like, if you've got nothing to say, you sit right, if you have nothing nice to say, you sit right here.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's like the poster child for gossip.
Yes.
Like, did you hear? Don't say I said anything.
I had a friend that we both know. I
But-
won't mention her name, but she worked with us and years ago, and she said she was so smart, and I never forgot this. She said we walked into her. It was me and another person walked into her office, and she said, if you're bringing gossip in the office, don't bring it in here. Leave the office.
Right.
I never forgot it. And I remember it from day, and I thought to myself, wow, like that's such a powerful statement.
Yeah.
And she was so confident in her viewpoints and her ways that she didn't want to have any of the negativity in her space.
Right.
Or hear about it. And it's really a good lesson to think about. It's just sometimes hard to live that.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
all. And I think that's where people have to figure it out. Right?
Agreed. I'm still giggling a little bit about the Pope because 230 hairstylists went to Rome, Catholic. So I'm thinking, how do they all find each other? Like, is there a Catholic Beautician Society of America?
There must be.
Really. I mean, which is lovely, but how you're all together, and let's go to Rome, and now let's get schooled on our oldest thing that happens, even in the barbers, in the barber
even when
shop.
let me just say this. I go to the same place to get my hair cut on 2nd Avenue in New York City, and I know the lady, and even when I live out west, I wait to go back to her, or we find someone else. But nobody talks. They say, hello, what do you do for a living? Good. Are you married? Are you single? This and that. That's it. And then and I keep my head down. I'm looking at my phone. I'm really not there to talk about anybody. I don't know anybody that in the salon. I usually go in with a wet hair because I don't want to spend money to get it washed and because I'm like, it's an extra $5. I don't need that. No, I'm kidding. I do not do that. But
He does.
But honestly, like I will tell you that like I don't really have any conversations. Now, am I getting pedicures and manicures? No. Am I in there getting highlights? No. I don't color my hair. No. So it's like, I'm not there to I'm not there for a long period of time. I want a 15-minute haircut. And they also, I love when they trim the sideburns. It's great. But like,
so
there's
much information.
There's no,
almost too much.
Yeah. And they also the back of your hair too. They do that. But that is it. There's no time to talk about anything.
Yeah. So what are guys gossiping about?
So
gossip.
So, the topics that they're gossiping about?
I want to know, be real with me.
Are you happy in your relationship? No,
That's
I'm just
not
kidding.
gossip.
That's not gossip. It's more of a conversation. I think they're talking about things that,
like how many girls they had the night before?
Yeah, or they're talking specifically about, other people's wives maybe or stuff like that, right? Or females that they may work with in the workplace. Maybe.
Okay.
That could be a topic as well.
Do guys talk about other guys?
Gossip about yeah, sure. Money, cars they drive.
Oh, all right.
Weight. Guys talk about weight issues.
Like, they'll be like, did you see Joe, man? He's like...
I think genders...
when he's got a nice ass? Like,
no,
what do they say?
I think they'll say, all right, Joe's, tacked on about 40 pounds.
Or Joe had lipo.
Yeah, and these days, lipo is pretty common with men.
Did you hear Joe has Botox?
Right.
Like guys, hair plugs, Botox.
I just read Kevin Costner is getting...
That's gossip. Don't bring your gossip into me.
But then what's wrong with saying someone got hair plugs?
Is it true?
I don't know. It was in the paper. That doesn't mean it's true.
It must be true.
But it could be. And if it is, good for him,
Well,
I guess.
I think Kevin who?
Costner.
Oh, I thought you meant Spacey because I was like, he's got bigger issues.
Dancing with Wolves.
Costner. Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah. Good. I mean, I don't know if it's true. But
I don't know if it is.
We're not going to talk about
any
of the countries.
I don't know if I believe everything I read anymore. I don't think I do. No, I just think that that's an interesting concept, though. But guys do talk about other things. But so I don't. That's where I'm really kind of the dilemma is like, what can you talk about? What can't you talk about?
I don't think we're really able to talk about anything. You can't touch anyone. You can't shake their hand, as we talked in the past. You can't flirt.
Right.
And there's a billion reasons why that's a good idea, and a billion reasons why they're It's kind of sad.
Yeah, I'd like to see in 20 years, and hopefully we'll be retired from everything, so we don't have to worry about it if we're still hopefully alive and healthy. I think the
And
question
not in
is,
jail.
and not in jail. What do you think people were going to, what do you think the workplace is going to look like then, or what do you think that the world is going to look like in 20 years? And do you ever think about that?
I don't.
Yeah, I think about the future a lot, and I always wonder because I think I never thought we'd be in a lot of the places we are now in the world, but maybe you didn't think enough about it back then. So that's an interesting thing to see where we'll be and how we're going to be talking to each other.
I think of it for Eric's sake, my son.
Yeah, your 14-year-old.
Yes, and I think of it for his sake, but I don't think of it for manners or society. I think about. I do think about, will we be nice to each other? But I don't think about, will we be gossiping or will we have eliminated the handshake? But I also wasn't thinking will smoking indoors be banned? Like there's things that are coming up that are just pleasantly awesome.
Well, it's kind of banned in a lot of places.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But when we were kids.
Yeah. Do you know my first internship, you were allowed to smoke in the office. This is how long ago
really?
it was. This was like 1989, 1990. You were still allowed to smoke in an office. And I remember by like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon,
right.
There was clouds of smoke.
Yeah.
It was like if you ever gone to bingo with your family and everybody smoked at the bingo
yes.
and you came home and your hair stunk of there.
Oh
or
gosh.
You went to a bar and when you were allowed to smoke in bars and I have such thick hair, right? Or it did, that my hair would just I remember coming home and having to take a shower.
So gross.
Because I smelled like an ashtray.
Yeah.
Well, I remember the first internship, just seeing the cloud of smoke over the office. And it was a big room with 40 desks. And you got to see that cloud of smoke. And I'm like, every day. Can you imagine?
Oh my gosh.
That's
Remember
really interesting.
smoking in an airplane?
Yes. One time, an international flight.
I love do you want smoking or non-smoking section? You're in an airplane.
Yeah.
Where do you?
I was flying to the Middle East.
There's an imaginary,
yeah. I was
wall?
flying to the Middle East one summer. It was July of 1994, and I was heading to Israel, right, and to Greece. And I remember somehow my ticket got screwed up, and I got stuck with 2 guys in the smoking section in the back of the plane.
In the middle seat?
In the middle seat.
Shush.
And it was awful, and both smoking the entire flight. And it was an overnight international flight. Can you imagine?
No.
And they had banned it on domestic flights, but not on the international flights. So it wasn't until a couple of years later that they did that.
Doesn't even make sense. Sorry to cut you off. Because you would think the longer flights, they'd say no.
Right.
But they were doing it because you were so addicted to nicotine that you couldn't go that long.
Right. Oh, it was terrible.
Oh.
And I remember that vividly. And I'm thinking that ruined the entire experience for me, even though I just wanted to sleep because it was, again, an overnight flight. But anyway, yeah. How did we get on that?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
But it's fun. Just things being banned. I do know because I brought up the restaurants.
Oh, is that what it was?
And now we're banning gossip.
Yeah.
What else?
I think
let's make some 20-year predictions.
What's going to happen in 20 years?
Right now.
Well, I don't want any hurricanes. That's what I don't want. I don't want hurricanes to wipe out places. That's what I worry about.
Okay. No, let's make some positive predictions.
Yeah. Okay. That's what in my fear of right today is what I'm thinking.
Duly noted.
So positive. You give me your top 3. Put you on the spot.
Okay. I say in 20 years, we will have cleaner air pollution. We won't have as much pollution. Yes.
Okay. I say in 20 years, you talk about the air. I'm hoping in 20 years that we've eliminated all of the debris from the oceans around the world.
I love that.
That kills me when I see that footage around the country, around the world.
The things with the cute ducks.
It's just, and then you see the debris. I remember once I was in Hawaii. We were in Hawaii for a couple of days or a week and a half or so. And I remember being in Kauai, this isolated part of the island, and there was a Tide bottle that was on the sand. And I thought, in Hawaii,
wow,
in a place that you think is so prestigious and remote and clean, and it was my first time there. And when I saw the Tide bottle, no offense to Tide, but I thought
it's not Tide's fault.
No, it wasn't, but I'm just saying that was kind of the eye opener to me. And that was obviously Hawaii, it's the United States, but it's so far from the United States, right?
Right.
And it's like being in Alaska, and finding a Poland Springs bottle, come up, or even a jar of a glass jar.
It would be more interesting to find out where it originated.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Because in a perfect world, your horrific story has their like a little hut on the hill, and the Tide bottle just rolled down and fell there, and you then saw it the next day.
Or the Tide bottle came from another part of the United States that was illegally dumped, or maybe somewhere around the world, and somehow through the bodies of water that that go through the entire world, basically landed up there. And that's what I wonder about.
A sadder version, and probably more the truth.
So the oceans to me are really important. First of all, world peace would be the best.
That would be the best.
That ever could happen. Wouldn't that be great?
Yes.
That I think is the key. But we can all dream, right?
We
We could try to get there.
If we didn't gossip, maybe we would have world peace.
I'm not convinced gossip's crime. I think it's a gene. I think more people do it. The bottom line is, you're going to give me the quick bullet points of our discussion. I think gossip is just part of people's DNA. And I think if you want to gossip about someone, you're just going to do it. The thing is, why do we do it? And is there a way to stop doing it?
Well, and
or modifying it.
I think like everything, moderation is key.
It's like drinking.
I love cheeseburgers.
You do?
In moderation. Right? So chismis and cheeseburgers.
That's a good two C's. That's a good one. I love that.
Well, thanks for coming by today.
Hey, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
I really appreciate it.
I think we got to learn a little bit more about the gossip and how it's actually, if the Pope is talking about it, I think it's something for us to consider.
I agree. I think we can, if we all just try to be, again, here I am, you can make fun of me, but I think if we all just, in moderation, just try to be a little better and a little nicer, then we'll be in a better place.
Good advice for this day. Thank you, Erin.
We'll be back. See you next show.